إن الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على نبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعص الله ورسوله فقد ضل غوى وإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا إن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وإن خير الأمور عوازمها وشر الأمور محدثاتها كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد يقول الله عز وجل في كتاب الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما ثم ما بعد. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we seek His assistance, and to Him and only Him do we turn in repentance. We seek the forgiveness of Allah from the evil of ourselves and from the evil of our actions, and whomsoever Allah guides, none can mislead, and whoever is led astray, there is no guide for him. We testify that there is none worthy of worship except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we testify that Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the final and beloved messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to Yawm al-Jum'ah, the best day of the week, on this 6th day of Muharram, of the new year, 1438 years after the Hijrah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is a time where many of the scholars of Islam that are in existence today, and many of the Imams, they give the Khutah, they give a reminder about the Hijrah itself. And since we are 6 days within the year, and a few short days away from some important dates that we will discuss in the second part of the Khutbah, it is important to actually go through the productive lessons of the Hijrah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It itself was a miraculous journey. It itself was the turning point in our religion of Islam. It's this day, or these days, that mark the Hijrah, the migration of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from his homeland, from his birthplace, from Mecca to Medina. And one of the things that we today do not appreciate because of the global world that we live in and global tourism that we live in, we don't understand that actual physical journey that took place. And the first thing that we need to understand, it was a 3-day long journey. It was by an animal, meaning the Prophet ﷺ used an animal, a ride, to transport this. That was the means of transportation. And it was in absolute heat. And we have to really understand how and why the Prophet ﷺ embarked this journey, and why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't make it easier for him in other means, and inshallah ta'ala we'll discuss this in the next few minutes. But when you realize this journey that needed to be taken place, this journey that needs to happen, there's reasons. Because in his homeland, because in his birthplace, he had the support of certain individuals, meaning his wife and his uncle. His uncle, not being Muslim, but being of the tribe, gave him that support from a person who was elderly and protected him from the other tribes for any type of harm coming to his beloved nephew. And then al-Mu'mineen Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha protected him and served him as a spouse. Emotionally, when he was down, she would support him. Financially, she was extremely wealthy and rich. She supported the entire da'wah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So when those two people died, they expired, he lost those two major supports. He lost the financial and the emotional and the support that he received from his wife. And he lost that support that he was receiving from his uncle. Thus, the other tribes got together saying he has no more support. He has nothing that is going to be able, no one there that's going to protect him now. And it is time, after a series of things that they said they will do, the shaitan helped them to come up with the plan that we're going to now assassinate our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he is doing everything that is wrong. And that is the basis. So now, knowing that the Prophet ﷺ is going to go through this assassination plot, they take a series of steps. And then the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has come to him that he needs to leave this land for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and start over again. And of the khutbah, of the lessons that I wanted to remind you of is the productive lessons. Because a Muslim that is not productive, I'm not sure what that Muslim is. A Muslim has to be productive at all times. And we have to go through these lessons, try to understand these lessons, because these lessons are not going to come from any other place but from our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these are lessons that are timeless. They even apply in our times today. So when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam embarked on his journey, he picked a companion. And he picked a companion that was extremely trustworthy, not only extremely trustworthy, the most trustworthy person at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the Prophet himself. And that was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. When he had chosen a companion, Abu Bakr was grateful for a lifetime of service, friendship, duty, call, everything that had taken place from Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He could not have a better companion. And so, it's something that we should also try to do, is we try to travel in companionship. A lot of times you don't have these issues if you're taking flights. There's a plane full of people. So you're with other people, major reasons where you may get lost, the animals may strike you if you're traveling through jungles and through the deserts and whatever. But today, it's a different time. Once having selected that, everything else was pre-planned. Going through a pre-planned journey. Everything from, you can imagine, was prepared for. The transportation and the type of transportation, of the best type of transportation they could receive, he got. The guide had to be a person who was a learned guide, meaning he knew the roads, he knew the way, and he wasn't even Muslim. And so it shows us that we can use non-Muslim guides and we can use the services of non-Muslims, as the Prophet ﷺ shows and leaves us this example for us until today. And going through, when they were actually making that journey, there was a person appointed where they were going to sweep up the tracks behind them. So when the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu are leaving Mecca, they're going for their journey. There is someone that was appointed and assigned to sweep the tracks to make sure that the mushrikun cannot trail them. There had other series of plans as well. The news, there was a person appointed to bring the news. There was a person appointed to bring the food. There was a person appointed for every single thing that needed to. There was a person appointed back at home who was supposed to take the Prophet ﷺ's place in his own house. Every single thing that needed to be done was done by the Prophet ﷺ. So now, when he leaves Mecca, he gets to Medina. So in Mecca, through the persecution, we have to analyze this. Why would he just stay there? Because he's being persecuted, they're trying to kill him. It's unproductive. He was going to be trying to survive for his life. I'm asking you, how is he going to be able to give da'wah? How is he going to be able to give someone else the duty or saying that come to Islam when he himself is going to experience a lot of hardship and persecution? So he needed to leave. And you see the productivity of our beloved Prophet Muhammad ﷺ when he does go, when you see the proof, when he goes to Medina, it's not about sitting down. He right away takes two different people. So the immigrants, the aliens, right? They emigrate from Mecca, and the citizens, the Ansar, they're sitting there, the friends, they accept them, and it was immediate citizenship. You didn't have to wait 3 or 5 years based on your relationship with anyone. Immediate citizenship. The support was there. The support was there between the Prophet ﷺ and the immigrants and the friends, the citizens of that place. That support was financial. That support was sharing their homes. And even more, they were willing to share everything and anything, and they were paired up. And you see the support that the Prophet ﷺ built right away. The community center was one of the first structures that was built, and is the Masjid, and we still see this Masjid in Medina. It's a beautiful masterpiece that started from a little room and has expanded from one area to another, and it takes like 15-20 minutes if you wanted to walk around the Masjid of the Prophet ﷺ Medina today. It is a beautiful Masjid. Not only this, then they also started to address the political issue. There was no necessity. It was not necessary for him to go through a debate, a false debate, between two different parties. There was nothing untrustworthy. There was nothing of falsehood that was coming out of the Prophet ﷺ. It was something true, and he became the leader of the Muslimin, not being born in Medina, not being from there, and yet he was still selected as their president, as their leader, as their ruler. And going through the people, building community relationships, making friendships, brotherhood. These are all the beautiful things that he focused on after the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ from here to there. Now I ask you a question. The question is, why couldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it just like he made Isra wal Mi'raj on a beautiful animal that took him from the earth to the highest of the heavens, and then took him to Bayt al-Maqdis, where he led the Prophet ﷺ, all the prophets, in prayer, and then he returned all within a single night? And the answer is very simple. The answer is a theological question, a theological answer, because it's related to our iman. The gift Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ at the Isra al-Mi'raj was the gift of salah. And if you do not understand the beauty of this gift, the salah is something that is supposed to be something extremely sacred for us. It is supposed to be that spiritual connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at least on a 5-time basis, on a single day, every single day, from the time you are obliged to pray until death do you part from this life. That is the salah that was given, and only thing that stood behind Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the veil of light. That was the only thing that protected from the Prophet ﷺ being able to see Allah. Allah dictated him that these 5 prayers, which are equal to 50 in reward, and we know the story, and inshallah, if nobody knows the story, we can do that story another time. But right now, if you just focus on this story, you could have used the law. But the issue here was a theological, it's dealing with iman. Our iman says, no matter what you do, no matter whoever comes here and says to you that from this point forward, we're going to reduce the salah from 5 to 4 or 3, we know, every single Muslim, even 3 and 4-year-old kids know that the 5 prayers can never be reduced and can never be increased. This is the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is iman, it is theology, and our theology does not change. Now here, in the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was an action, a physical state, where there was nothing theological about it. It was a command from Allah to the Prophet ﷺ to leave your homeland and to go to a new land, and he did it. And this is the living example for all of us today, that we need to make this hijrah more often in our lives than we think. Meaning, the hijrah is a migration, a physical migration, but it also can be a spiritual migration. The physical migration is for us today to understand that if you're in a job that is just not good for you and your religion, then you go to a job that is better for you and your religion and your family and your deen, your dunya and your akhirah. And if it's something that hurts it, then you stay away from it. You go to another place. Spiritually, if you're a person who is involved in evil deeds, in disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then spiritually you move towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can break it down into 3 major categories: your work life, your family life, and your spiritual life. If any one of these categories is deteriorating, then that's what you need to migrate to. If your family life, meaning if you're a workaholic, you love to work 12, 15, 16 hours a day, and your family doesn't get to see you, then you need to start migrating a little bit of your attention to your family. If your work is not so well, but your life, your family life, and your spiritual life, mashallah, is good, then you need to be able to focus a little bit more on your work life as well, so you're providing for your family in a halal means and in the best means possible. Because you have to provide for your family, you have to provide for yourself and your family as well. So there's different areas of your life that you and I, we all need to review ourselves. Where do we need to make the migration? Where do we need to go and make the change in our lives? We have, in our ancestors, whether it be our parents or grandparents or ourselves that are sitting here right now, we've made a migration already, right? We left our homelands that were Muslim, Islamic lands, for non-Muslim lands. And the scholars of Islam say that there's three major reasons why you can leave your land. Number one, if you're being persecuted, you're suffering for your life, you're running for your life, you can leave your land. Number two, you can leave your land if there's a health reason. If you have some health issues, and the only place you can receive treatment is in a certain place, then you go and you leave your land for health, because when you have better health, you can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better, you can work better, you can provide for your family, you can take care of things, you can take care of your community. And the third one is for educational purposes, where if the education in the place that you're living is subpar, it's not good, and you're going to receive a better education somewhere else, it's okay to migrate for that purpose. The best education to migrate for is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the worldly education is important, but not as important as your religious education. And these are the major reasons that you would make migration, leave homelands. Other things that you can do, and other reasons you may leave, is if your children are exposed to other individuals that are not providing the proper background, proper neighborhood, proper learning environment, where they are taking them into different paths. That's time for hijrah. It's time for migration. It's time to leave that place and go to a place where you can raise your children better. You give them the better education. And I always say all the time, not only good education, the best education that you can possibly get, the best job that you can possibly get, the best wife and the best family that you can possibly get. Always achieve and always try to achieve the best in every single stage of your life, whether it be your family life, your spiritual life, your work life, and any other things that you're involved in. You always attain and you always try to obtain the best. Never, never subpar, because when you try to achieve for the best, if you fail, it's still pretty good. And so you always want to make sure that you're always reaching for the highest level. And then the main thing that we always try to focus on is our spiritual lives, that we're always aiming for the highest level of Jannah, not the lowest level. We aim for the highest, and then inshallah end up anywhere between lower and the highest. Alhamdulillah. But you aim for the highest level possible. So now the Prophet ﷺ had all of these things put in place. I want to relate to you a story. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala and the Prophet ﷺ, they are stuck in the cave of Thawr. Now the Mushrikun of Arabia have said that these tracks, some of the tracks that were left, and they were able to come, and they were able to get to the cave. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala in fear, crying, next to the Prophet ﷺ, whispering to him, if they look down, they'll be able to see us. The people, they'll find us, and they'll take us, and he was not worried about his own life, but he was worried about the life of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And knowing that this would hurt him, he was more concerned. And then what did the Prophet say? Don't worry. Calm down. Don't be afraid. Don't be frightened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. The life lesson and the productive lesson that you learn from this is that every single thing that is in your power, when you saw the Prophet, he got the guide, he got the transportation, he got people to give him food, everything was there. You take everything that is in your power, everything that is in your hand, and you make sure that you do it, and you make sure that somebody else is doing it, you assign those duties to someone, and then everything else that you have no control over, you rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The complete trust of a human being should be in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can rely on each other, but the complete confidence and trust is always on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is a life lesson that we need to know. No matter what situation you're in, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what position you're in, no matter the ummah is high or low, if you do what you need to do, everything that is in your power, and then rely the rest of your abilities in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the confidence, the trust in Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you, and you should know that at all times. And I've seen it all the time, and we've seen it, right? How many times were you pressed against the wall? That if, today I'm out of money, and next thing you know, the person that you owe money, that you lend money to, the person walks in right behind you, you're thinking you're about to go into a bank and try to get a loan or whatever, and he walks in and gives you money back to you. Allah works in mysterious ways and things and gives you from places that you never thought you would get. You get it from. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be the final guide of all things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the main one that we trust in. Ikhwan Islam. The Hijrah, if that doesn't teach you anything, then I want to take your focus to another thing. Another one of the beautiful stories of the Prophet ﷺ during the Hijrah is one thing that he did. If this doesn't put you at a new height, and if you've never taken this into consideration, please do. This is the story where Ali ibn Abi Talib, radiallahu ta'ala, his own cousin, is left behind in his bed to take his place. When he leaves him, knowing that Ali radiallahu may not be even alive, because these people are looking to assassinate and kill him. Yet he accepts this responsibility, but this is the beautiful thing. He says, all of these amana, these trusts that I have, make sure that you return it to their proper owners. He has all of these trusts. Now I want you to picture this. This is a person right now that is being accused by the people of the town. You're a liar, you're a cheater, you're a stealer, you're a person who commits magic, you break apart families, you're a person that is causing strife and harm amongst our family members and amongst our communities, and you're a person who's causing fitna amongst us. But yet before this, they would take their most prized possessions and give it to the Prophet ﷺ to store and to save. He was their bank. He was their depository. He was their safe deposit box in a bank where he would be holding their jewelry, their clothing, or whatever of importance there was. He was holding it. And when he was holding it, they trusted him. And when they were seeing all of these things about him, he was still holding it. They didn't ask for it back because they knew that he was not going to do anything with it. And what did he say? To return. Beautiful, the most productive lesson that you get out of this is the measuring stick for us is justice. Justice. Even though every single person in that community of the mushrikun that had not committed to Islam, they were persecuting the Prophet ﷺ. He could have taken their revenge. He was leaving all his property. He was leaving all his belongings behind. He could have taken those prized possessions and taken it with him to Medina, but that's not the way there. Justice in Islam doesn't teach us this. What it teaches us is that you do not act upon your whims and your desires and your personal feelings and your personal beliefs. It is not about revenge. It is not about harm. It is not about returning that persecution. It is about being fair and just. And remember, these were non-Muslims that he was holding all of the treasures for. These were non-Muslims and he returned it. So now I want you to think in today's times. All of the things that people try to justify, and try to justify killing, and try to justify all of the harm that's being caused to Muslims and non-Muslims all across the world, is it justified when you read this story, when you listen to this story? Absolutely not. And this is the greatest lesson that you can probably learn from this story, is to make sure that you take whatever is given to you as an amana, as a trust, and that you return it to their rightful owner at all times. Even if that person owes you dollars and you're holding a necklace for them, unless they tell you that you can do the trade, you yourself do not do that trade. You take that necklace, you take that piece of equipment or anything that they've given you and you return it, just like the Prophet ﷺ did. Islam, you go through the Hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, you learn lessons beyond belief. More lessons can be learned, but in a few minutes I wanted to share with you the highlights of some of the lessons that we can learn and apply from the Hijrah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in our busy lives today, and try to be a little bit more productive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us. وَأَقُولُ قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ وَلِسَائِرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِنَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد ثم بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, the Hijrah, it is a beautiful event where Umar ibn Khutah radiallahu ta'ala, when he received the leadership and the rule of Arabia at that time, he said one of the most turning points in the history of Islam was the Hijrah. They looked at a lot of things. They looked at the birth of the Prophet ﷺ. They looked at the time where he received the Nabuwah. They looked at other parts of history around that time where they thought that they can start their calendar. And they started it on the day when they left Arabia, in Mecca, from Mecca to Medina. They left one city to another city, 340 kilometers apart or so. About 210 miles for us right now. It's about a 3 or 4 hour drive, and 210 miles you probably cover in about an hour flight. But they took a 3-day long journey to cover that trip, so today we can be sitting here accepting Islam and sitting as Muslims. Because if that event does not take place, as we know it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's deen stops with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because that was the one person Allah has designated to carry this deen to us. And if that Hijrah does not take place, that migration does not take place, we lose. And we lose. The world loses. Everyone is losing. So we knew that the divine plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was not that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would never ever lose this. So now knowing that this is the new year, and this is the first month of the year, in the month of Muharram, one of the other things that the Prophet ﷺ learned about when he moved into Medina, he saw the Jews were fasting on a day, and it was the 10th of Muharram. And when they were asked, why are you fasting this day? They said, this is the day that Musa ﷺ was freed from Fir'aun and granted victory by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another hadith, it is said that Nuh ﷺ also received the final destination from the ark. And it said it was on this day as well. Allah Ta'ala, I haven't been able to verify this, but this is one of the other stories that is said. But the Musa ﷺ story is authentic, and the Prophet ﷺ said, well, we have a bigger right, a more right on Musa ﷺ and his practice, and because he is a true prophet of Allah and believer in Allah, that we will fast that day as well. And he said, if I'm alive next year, then I would combine these 2 days, meaning the Jews would fast that one day, that to make our fast different, that we would combine 2 days. So either the 9th and the 10th, or the 10th and the 11th. And inshallah, if today is the 6th, then inshallah the 10th is Tuesday. So it's up to you. Monday being a holiday, maybe you want to fast the 9th and the 10th, or the 10th and 11th being the Tuesday and Wednesday. Especially if you follow the same calendar. And if you have a different calendar, if you have other issues, please check with your local masjid. But inshallah, the calendars that we're following this masjid, and the majority of the masajid here in New York City and other parts of the tri-state area, we're on the calendar which says that the 10th of Muharram is on Tuesday, inshallah. So try to fast on that day. Try to fast on that day to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The final thing that I wanted to remind you of is that this masjid has been here for a number of years. For almost 40 years, and I think now we might be even crossing the 40-year mark. In this masjid, in this new year, we have to make a true and solemn obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we pay the loan off. There's a small loan that is left. It's a little over $200,000. I'm not going to do any fundraising, and I'm not asking you to do anything today. But from this point forward, in this next few days, to weeks, to months, before the next year comes, we want to be sitting in our own building, in our own masjid that is fully paid off, and that we do not owe any debts in this place to any single person or a single entity in the world. And that we truly make this entity, this place, this masjid, truly for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So please, brothers and sisters, even our weekly donations are going down. So please, when you walk out, make sure that you just put a few dollars in. All of you, all of us are here in this city, in this town right now, and attending Jummah here because either we're working here or we're working in the surrounding area. So if you're working, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with a job, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with an income, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you in different ways, with family and others. Take some of that hard-earned income, part away with it, and give it in charity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Try to get the regular functioning, the weekly functioning, the monthly functioning of this masjid to be at a level where we can save some and try to pay this loan off. And if you can help us to pay that loan off, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and bless you with more, inshallah ta'ala. And finally, I ask you all to please pray for our brothers and sisters that are suffering all over the world. The suffering is increasing. It's not decreasing for them. And just remember that you, my brothers and sisters, are in the best position right now where you are safe and secure, but that environment may not be always here. So please do not forget our brothers and sisters. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all our shortcomings. Allahumma afir al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat wal-muslimina wal-muslimat al-ahya'i min wal-amwat. Allahumma innaka afuwwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma ighfir li halalika wa haramika warhamna bi fadlika wa min siwak. Allahumma arina al-haqqa haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina al-batila batilan warzuqna ijtinabah. اللهم ثبتنا على الإسلام اللهم نور قلوبنا بنور الإيمان اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. اللهم لا تجعلنا من القوم الظالمين، اللهم لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم اشف مرضى ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أقم الصلاة.